Off the Hook, airing on offthehooksports.com. Your home for real news, real opinions, and what really matters about Tennessee athletics. The Off the Hook podcast at offthehooksports.com or Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or wherever you go for your favorite podcasts. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn, iHeart. Like, share, follow, subscribe. Off the Hook with Dave Hooker starts now.
There's not going to be anything to talk about, they say. Why? There's no college football in July. That wasn't supposed to rhyme. Dave Hooker with Amanda LaFratta and Ethan Stone. Be sure and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube or on offthehooksports.com and like. That way it shows up in your chain more. We have conference realignment. That wow. Dropped big time yesterday right after we went off of the air, right after we taped our podcast, I should say. So we've got a lot to get to on the program, and conference realignment is going to be the main target. A couple of notes over the weekend. We will be off on July the 4th. Still have content up, but won't be doing our show. Francis Maligawa is going to announce his decision on the 4th. And that's going to be a very interesting one to watch. And I think that Tennessee has a great shot, and probably the highest, well, not probably, the highest rated prospect on Tennessee's board they have a great shot at. Now, the other one to look at before we get to conference realignment is a gentleman's going to make his decision at 7 o'clock this evening. It is Tyree Weathersby. So Weathersby in good shape, I think, with Rodney Garner. Tennessee thought to be the leader, announcing at 7 o'clock today. I believe they'll get the 6'4", 251 pound, I want to sliding prospect. And I think that they will pick him up. So that would be 1, 2, 3 in a week. You see, momentum is key in recruiting. I think that could help Maligawa. So I think
wait, he's 251 pounds and he's a wide receiver?
No, I said defensive lineman. Did I say defensive lineman?
I thought you said wide receiver.
Let's go to the official. Ethan?
I don't remember. He is a defensive lineman. I don't remember what you said, though. You were cooking. I was lost in it.
Yeah. If I misspoke, then he is definitely a defensive lineman.
A defensive lineman.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, that's a gigantic wide receiver.
That is a mammoth wide receiver.
Who is the guy that played for the Chargers for so long? The really big guy who was on steroids. He got busted like twice. Or maybe a Calvin. I'd say Calvin Johnson was 235.
Megatron.
Yeah, he's there.
Okay, Weathersby's not that. He is considering Kentucky, Mississippi State, South Carolina, and Tennessee, and he is a defensive lineman. Okay, so conference realignment, guys. Wow, it struck yesterday big time, and we've got plenty of Tennessee news and notes on the program today. We will have our poll question. We will have our This Day in Sports History, and also an appearance from Josh Ward and John Adams of the Sports Animal and News Sentinel, respectively. So we've got a lot going on. Conference realignment. Let's talk about that. Amanda, how are you?
I'm doing well. I'm a little shocked after all this conference realignment stuff, but I'm good. How are you?
It's a little weird. Ethan, how are you, sir?
So weird.
Yeah, I share that sentiment. It's very strange knowing that UCLA and Rutgers is going to be a conference game at some point. That strikes me the wrong way. I don't like it.
And okay, guys. So the way it strikes me, and you, Ethan, Amanda, you'll find this. I always look for what I believe is how it affects the ultimate foundation of the program, which is recruiting. If I'm UCLA and USC, if I'm a UCLA or USC prospect, I'm not real jazzed about this. I'm not real jazzed about hopping on a plane and flying 4 hours, 4 or 5 times a year. I don't think this helps their recruiting at all. And I'm just opening this up for discussion. I'm just throwing everything out there. I wonder if Lincoln Riley, before he left Oklahoma, knew about this, if he's second guessing his decision. I think that much like Missouri to the SEC, what you're seeing is that conferences think about TV markets more than they do about regional competition and what makes sense. That's what I got. Ethan, start. How did the whole thing strike you?
Yeah, the first thing I thought is kind of similar to your point that I mean, you think about these football players, and it's going to mess with recruiting in a certain way. But I also think UCLA and USC have their own brand that can kind of attract recruits regardless. I mean, they're in Southern California, Los Angeles. That's an attractive place to these people. So I don't think that part necessarily will be too much for football and basketball players. Think about the volleyball player for UCLA that suddenly has to get on a plane and go to Penn State or Rutgers, 4 or 5 hour plane ride for a volleyball game, and then they got to go all the way back. I mean,
I was short-sighted. I was just thinking about football. So
football, it's obviously going to affect football, and football is king, and basketball is slightly less king, but queen, we'll say. They're the two top ones, but like volleyball and those other little small schools, this is going to be so weird for them. So weird for them.
I'm thinking about basketball because you turn and burn during the season. It's not
yeah.
play one game on a Saturday. You're going, you play 3 different times during the week. Like that is jet lag. That's going to be terrible.
Wednesday, Saturday games, that's going to be rough. That's definitely going to be rough. And I feel like what the move was is what everything in the world was, how it revolves. It's money, and money. TV markets probably helped with that. Broadcast deals will help with this, and it's money. They realized they could get more money going to the Big Ten, and they did it. And I would be surprised. I would be shocked if no one else followed.
I think also, Amanda, off Ethan's point, that this was the last life raft that a Pac-12 team was going to get to be a part of the Super Conference. I think the Big Ten and SEC will ultimately decide that Super Conference whenever it is. And had they not jumped on board now, I think the Big Ten would have gone a different direction, and ultimately the Super Conference would have been made up of different teams. One other thing on Ethan's point, I do think California kids leave in a heartbeat. Traveling is nothing to them. So could it bring them more recruits? I guess. But if you're asking me, I'd rather play Oregon and Cal and the teams in the West, if I'm a West Coast guy, than flying out and playing in Rutgers.
I don't necessarily think it'll bring more recruits. I don't think anything's really going to change just because, I mean, it's still living in Los Angeles. I don't want to reiterate what I said a little while ago. I don't necessarily think it's going to lose or gain recruits. And so from the Big Ten's perspective / UCLA and USC's perspective, I find that a little weird if they're saying that's why they did it.
I don't know if they'll say that, no, but I do think it will cost them some recruits. Now, they might gain recruits because they're now in a more successful conference with more exposure. So I do think that they'll both have an effect. Ultimately, at the end of the day, I don't know how it affects their signing class, and they're probably not going to really tell us the true motivation of why they didn't pick a school. But I do think it definitely throws a wrench, Amanda, into things from Lincoln Riley's perspective. I mean, I think that's a different recruiting pitch now than it was.
So I have a few comments. First, what's going to happen with the TV scheduling? Like, you have a California team who's going to play on the East Coast. They're going to have to completely do away with the, noon games for whoever plays UCLA and USC. That's going to have to go away because it can't air in California at 9 a.m. Like, it just can't do it. They can't do that.
Well, now they had talked. The Pac-12 had talked about that though, of playing a noon Eastern game at 9 a.m.
I know, but it's stupid.
I agree, it's stupid. Your body clock's not designed to work like that. I agree, it's stupid. But I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, the noon game Eastern time is going to be 9 a.m. in your body clock. You're going to see a Rutgers upset a USC or a UCLA.
Yeah.
I like that take. I like that take. I think you're right.
It's going to be horrible. But not only that, I don't see there being 2 super conferences because you can't have 2 super conferences. How are you going to schedule those games? How are you going to even
Well, maybe I got a little ahead of myself. So I think the Big Ten and SEC have the gravitas. They will create the super conference together. I think the Big Ten and USC and UCLA all said to themselves, the SEC is going to leave us behind if we don't have some power. And now they have power in the LA market. Now they have power in some big television markets. So if the SEC is spearheading this super conference, they're going to include the Big Ten now. Probably were anyway. But they're going to
Texas and Oklahoma. Yeah. You should have just stayed where you were. Now you're coming to the SEC just to get completely smacked around every year. And here we all are freaking out and having USC play Rutgers on a Saturday morning at 9 a.m.
I'm sure there's a lot of thought put into these decisions. But when we start talking Missouri to the SEC and we talk USC and UCLA to the Big Ten, it feels like somebody just woke up in the middle of the night and said, what about this? I mean, I'm sure there's thought into it. These guys get paid millions of dollars, but it doesn't feel like any thought has been put into it.
There's no thought into this. There's no thought into any of it. The transfer portal, just do what you want. NIL, do what you want. Here, let's just give all the teams, you know what, play wherever you want to play. Let's just do it all. Here you go. You want to play a 9 a.m. game on, in Pacific time and you're freaking UCLA? Here you go. Let's do it. This makes none of this. Somebody needs to override the NCAA. Just kick them out and let's start over. I don't know.
I don't think there is any debate for the worst commissioner in the history of sports would be President Mark Emmert, who is stepping down. To me, it was Ryan McGee of ESPN who tweeted out that picture of the captain driving the Titanic into the water, and he attached it to Mark Emmert's announcement that he was going to step down. I was like, I can't gift that any better. I cannot produce a better JPEG or whatever that is of that moment, because he did. He just drove the NCAA through his inaction with NIL and transfers. He drove it straight into the bottom of the ocean.
And then he got off the boat. That's the problem. He didn't even sink with the ship. He just got off the boat.
He left the band just to keep on rolling.
He pushed the women and children out of the way and got on like the boat, the little dinghy, to get out of there.
Oh, give me some Beethoven. I'm going to get on this life raft and save my rear. Wow. Just stunning. City Heat and Air is stunning. They provided East Tennesseans with honest, dependable heating and cooling services for over 50 years. And it's about integrity at City Heating and Air. There's other people who say, well, I'll be there for $29.99. No, City Heating and Air is going to take care of you. That's why they will go back. So I don't know. I mean, what's next? Saying what's next is kind of stupid, because it was last year that it was announced about Texas about Texas and Oklahoma. And that was a stunner in the middle of SEC media days. Nobody saw that coming. Nobody saw this one coming. So I'm going to ask the impossible question. What's the next realignment? I don't think any of us know.
At Pac-12, ACC?
There's not really any way to know. I think she's spot on. I think it's going to be Miami's going to join the Pac-12. Some along those lines.
I'm not ruling it out.
No, the Pac-12 is going to die very soon, in my opinion.
Yes.
That is not the one I would pick. I mean, I know Amanda doesn't like it. I feel like we are heading on a collision course for 2 mega conferences. I really do. I think we're going to have 2. Yeah, I think we're going to have 2 mega conferences.
But how do you do that? How do you navigate those waters?
I don't know how you do it either, but I also don't know how UCLA and USC are currently in the Big Ten. So they don't care even a little bit. They want money, and that would get people money. I don't know how they would do it. I have no idea. Having 20 teams in one conference, you can't play 20 games a season, 19 games a season, obviously.
Exactly.
But they're going to do it anyway. I guarantee it. I guarantee that's where we're going.
Okay, how many teams are in the Big Ten now?
16.
16.
And, counting USC and UCLA.
Okay. Yeah. And the SEC will have
16.
Yes,
I think
16.
I think you're gold. What am I missing? I put them together.
No,
They're
but
32. They're one mega conference done. I'm done.
but
I'm sorry, Miami. I'm sorry, Clemson, that you didn't jump on board. I'm sorry, Florida State, when you had the chance, you didn't. Let's mega conference this thing. Start this year. Rip up the contracts. Pay the financial penalties. Move on. Super conference 32. That's
you
where I
have
am.
gone outside your
Yeah,
mind.
I don't
You are
think
outside
I love
your
it.
mind.
I'm not
No.
saying it's going to happen, but that's what I would do tomorrow.
I'm
And then
predicting Oregon and Washington to the ACC. Hands down.
that's insane.
It's happening.
Okay,
I mean,
here's
the
what
ACC is the one that's kind of the wild card here. I feel like people aren't really talking about them too much because they haven't lost anybody to that yet. And I feel like they need to get with it, or there are going to be two. They have the chance to make it three, but I think very
It's gonna be
soon the SEC and Big
24
Ten are going
teams.
to kind of beat them up a little bit. Like,
guys.
I've always thought Virginia Tech, for example, I've always thought Virginia Tech is a better SEC looking school than
Totally
Missouri.
agree. West
I
Virginia,
mean-
actually, West Virginia is very, very SEC like. I covered
Yeah.
a couple of games up there. Very
Yeah.
similar.
Absolutely, both of them. I'd
He-
take them over Vandy and Missouri all day.
Yeah, I would put here's what I would do. I would put the super conference together. This is me. I'm not saying this is going to happen, but just hear me out, okay, on this idea. I'm going to put the super conference together like as soon as I can. Like if I could enact it tomorrow, and it's called the CFL, the College Football League. I think CFL is already taken, but you know what I mean. So you put together one super conference with the 32 teams you have, okay? And then you put on notice quietly. I'm not saying you send out a press release, but you go to Vanderbilt and those type of schools that are out there, Northwestern, although I respect their program a lot. I think Pat Fitzgerald has done a great job there. I go to them and I say, hey, fellas, the academics alone aren't going to keep you in this conference. So you've got about 4 years, probably more like 2, but about 2 or 4 years to up your game, because we're going to take about 6 more teams. I'm Mr. Mega Conference, okay? And right now, I can tell you that Oregon wants a spot, Clemson wants a spot, Florida State wants a spot, Miami wants a spot, Washington wants a spot. I can list off 20 people that want a spot. And if you don't up your game, you're going to lose your spot. So you're 32. You could go to 38, drop 4 of the Vanderbilts and Northwesterns of the world. You decide who that is. Drop 4, and then you're at 38, and I'm very comfortable with that. That's just me.
No, that's terrible. That's
I love it.
a terrible idea.
It's the best
What do
idea
you do
ever.
with Stanford? Where's Stanford gonna go? They're great academically and
Well,
football.
I guess they can keep paying a coach $9 million that I believe won 4 games last year or 3. I mean, who cares? I mean, I respect them. I should have gone to Northwestern, for goodness sake. We probably all should have, given our interest and our talents. But I respect the heck out of them, okay? But the bottom line is, this is hard. We're talking, if you see it kind of in my brain, which is a warped place to be, I see this as a totally different level. I mean, Ethan, if you see it like that, it's totally different than the Stanfords of the world and the Vanderbilts of the world really don't matter that much anymore.
Yeah.
I hate to be hardcore.
Yeah.
What do you do about the Cincinnatis?
I mean, I'm not saying you do it by any means, but I see your point. I think it is an abysmal idea, to be totally honest. I see your point.
I love it. My idea brought to you by Vols Automotive Group. Car shopping made easy. Vols Automotive, you can absolutely be taken care of. They have a great selection right there at Vols Automotive. They've got auto financing as well, and they keep you going with car service and repair work. So, guys, there is a little bit of more news. I know that we could stay on this forever, and I want to revisit it a couple of different times. But I do find it very interesting that Brittany Griner appeared in a Moscow area court for trial on Friday. And I know a lot of Lady Vol fans probably listen to this don't like Brittany Griner because she was really good. But the bottom line is, this is just bizarre. and I did a little research into this. This could drag on for a couple of years. I mean, don't be surprised if she is stuck in Russia for a couple of years, and all for having cannabis. This is they look at this, and it's not, as drug trafficking, and they can hold her basically as long as they want to. I don't care if you like Brittany Griner or not, and I don't get political, and you guys will never know where I stand politically, left or right. But I don't care who the president is, if he's a Democrat, if he's Republican. You need to get up and moving and do something, because she might not be the most popular person in the world. It's not the same thing as, let's say, Simone Biles, who's slightly more popular, getting trapped over there for some reason. But it is a person that Russia is holding over you. Somebody needs to do something. That's as close as I'll get to politics. Am I wrong on that one?
My take would be the same as yours. The next president is going to be dealing with this if Joe Biden does not soon, which my bet is that he won't soon. I also won't delve into politics too much, but I think this is going to be going on for a pretty decent while.
Yeah, he fell off a bike. I'm sorry. He fell off a bike. And I'm not, it was hilarious no matter where you stand politically. But also,
I fell off a bike in San Diego in March.
Well, good for you. But this points.
I did.
I mean,
heard.
It points to everything that's happening right now, everywhere. It's all about money. So,
I tell you where it's about money and saving money. That's the Mattress Place, 30 to 70% off every day. The Mattress Place, 22 years on Chapman Highway, Marine Corps veteran owned, A+ accredited member of the Better Business Bureau, over 225 5-star reviews on Google. Huge selection, quality, no gimmicks, just 30 to 70% off each and every day. So poll question, I have no idea where Ethan's going to go here, because there is quite a bit to talk about. So let's go ahead and kick around a poll question. Does it have anything to do with conference realignment?
Yeah, it does. I feel like this is the obvious. I feel like this is the obvious question here. Is just, do you, the Off the Hook Sports viewer / listener, do you like conference realignment? That way, it's as simple as that. I think that'll get a lot of people talking.
I like that.
Maybe tweak it a little bit. It's really general, but
he's gonna tweak it. It's
really general. So,
how
about this? Do you think conference realignment is, should I say, good for the game or good for entertainment?
How about is a super conference inevitable?
I
feel like we should say, are the two mega conferences inevitable?
How about we say, how about this? How about we come on the two? Is a super conference inevitable? 1, yes, it's going to happen. 2, no, there will be 2 super conferences.
I have one.
Wait, let's focus. I want to get Ethan's thoughts on that one.
I'm not a huge fan. I'll be 100% on. I don't think the mega conference is founded in anything except for your ideas. I'm going to be 100% honest.
Oh no, it's going to happen. No,
a mega conference?
Yes, within 5 years it will happen.
How did we get back on this?
There will be a separate.
I want to hear Amanda's.
Thank you.
There will be a separate division. Go ahead.
I would like to say, which conference do you think won't survive this realignment? And you can put the Big 12, the Pac-12, the ACC, the MAC or something. I don't know. Yeah.
I think just those 3.
Yeah, the Power 5.
Okay, I'm going to do that. That's a better one.
Thank you.
Poll question today will be on the Twitter, and it's brought to you by Big Orange Phillies. They've got the quick bites. They know it's tough to get out of the office for a long lunch. That's why they're good at getting you quality food fast. Grab something cold from the fridge or order hot from the counter. Fresh ingredients, casual, shouldn't mean stale food options, so they're fresh. Stay wild, darts, billiards, live entertainment, and karaoke. That is Big Orange Phillies right there on Maynardville Pike. It's in the middle of Halls, so easy to get to from North Knoxville or easy to get to from Maynardville. So know that you've got a good family-friendly place that's a whole lot of fun. Remind you, please subscribe, please like, so we show up in your YouTube channel more often. I want to thank all the subscribers that have jumped on this week. It's been pretty neat. If you subscribe also, you'll get sneak peeks and you will get notifications when I post things on YouTube earlier in the week that we distribute throughout the week. So you got Josh Ward up there. You have Josh Ward of WNML. You got John Adams, who we'll hear from the Knoxville News on this show. You also have you have Jacob Warren. You have Cooper Mays, who's actually on a mission trip. So good for him.
Aww.
But yeah, it's pretty cool.
I love mission trips.
I would like to go on one. I feel like as an American person that should give back. We're pretty privileged to be in this country. And happy Independence Day. Our web designer, by the way, works in Canada. So I said, have a good 4th. And he didn't know what the bleep I was talking about. All right, stay tuned.
You know he did. He knew.
Well, he had a rough eye. But their Thanksgiving is like 3 weeks later. So when we were working on the site last year, it's really weird. Or 3 weeks earlier, something. I can't even actually remember. But it's way different. It's like, Google back after this. What is the Canadian Thanksgiving?
It's too early for this.
Also, some more conference realignment, talking Tennessee recruiting as well. Back in just about 2 minutes, our poll question again: what conference doesn't make it through conference realignment? You're down to the ACC, Big 12, Pac-10, I guess we'll call them.
Pac-12, I thought.
Well, I mean, they are, but they've got 2 teams leaving. So, back in 2 minutes.
Gary Viles here. I want to personally invite you to North Knoxville's newest sports bar and restaurant. It's Big Orange Phillies, located in Black Oak Center. And yes, folks, it's happening in Halls. Big Orange Phillies offers family-friendly environment with homemade meals and the best deli-style subs around. Billiards, darts, jukebox, shuffleboard, and cornhole, and a full bar. We also offer valet parking on weekends and during special events. We even have a covered back patio. It's happening at Big Orange Phillies. We want, we need, and we appreciate your business.
Hi, Mike Davis here with City Heating and Air, reminding you to always dare to compare. Our team provides quality local heating and air service, installation, and maintenance across East Tennessee. We use only the best equipment like American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning for your residential, new construction, or commercial needs. Honesty, dependability, and customer satisfaction have been the cornerstones of our business since 1961. City Heat and Air.
Dare to compare.
This is Al's Dish Barbecue Supply, so come on in and see all the different rubs and sauces we have, plus a complete line of Green Mountain grills. Don't be overwhelmed. We have plenty of help so you can produce the best barbecue and amaze your family and friends. Barbecue is America's food. We'll do what we can to bring you all the best products. We're Al's Nest Barbecue, where Chattanooga goes to grill.
Do you want to own the more that owns every job? Then get to Vassey Lawn and Garden in Cleveland and get you a Toro. I'm David Vassey, here to talk to you about Toro. With a Toro Zero Turn, you'll get more out of every minute and you'll reach the finish line faster. At Vassey's, we like to say, no matter if you're mowing 3 acres a week or 11 lawns a day, homeowners and business owners alike find confidence in equipment they can trust from top to bottom.
Vassey Lawn and Garden, Highway 60 North in Cleveland.
Man alive, it's worth the drive.
Welcome back with Ethan Stone. I'm Dave Hooker. Amanda and Ava apparently joins us, which is a great transition. That little dog. How far do you think you could throw that dog, Ethan?
You're muted.
You're muted. How far do you think you could throw?
Sorry, I have to keep muting my thing because these cats that I'm watching are not devil spawned. They're very loud, so I have to keep my mic muted when I'm not talking. That is a good question, though. I would not want to do that, Amanda, but I think.
Thank you.
How much
far enough for me to murder you is what it is.
How much does it weigh?
Yeah.
It's not an it.
She
is a she. She weighs 10 pounds, and if anyone touches her, I will murder you. I will go to jail. I'm not scared.
Hypothetically,
hypothetically,
We'll say
a football is 14 to 16 ounces. So that's look that
it's a
up.
little
So
harder to
that,
throw a dog because it's like squirming around and stuff. I'd say like
that's right. Well, you
20
got to get a really good grip.
20 yards. I don't know. It's hard because the grip is going to be weird. It's hard to visualize like how far it would be too. I'd say like 20 yards is a good starting point. Do you think I'm crazy for that?
I think if
You
you
better
could chuck,
run.
I think if you could
better
chuck
run.
something 10 pounds, 20 yards, that you need to be in the Olympics. I mean, it isn't a
20
shot
yards?
put. That
I mean, I could
seems
throw a football that you said is heavier than that, about
no, a
35.
football's no, the
No,
dog's 10
dear
pounds.
I was about
God.
to
There's
say,
no
what are you
football.
talking
It's 10
about?
pounds.
I mean, back before all my shoulder issues.
For whatever reason, I thought you just said that a football. You gaslit me into thinking a football was 15 pounds. I totally
Gaslit?
just went
No.
with you.
14 to 16
I've
ounces.
thrown a
So
football before.
about a pound. I have a bad
Okay, well-
shoulder, and I still could get. I feel like I could get 20 feet.
Well,
I
as
I
love
think I
long
can
as-
throw it farther than that. Not 20. I'm going to go back on my 20. I think that's insane. But I do think 10 to 15, I genuinely think is possible. I genuinely
what's the
think it's
furthest
possible.
What's the furthest you've ever thrown a football?
40 yards.
Okay.
It's not
if
very
you
good, but
try,
I'm
I will
pretty
run you
small.
over with my car.
I mean, I'm not gonna.
Well,
I will back up and I will do it again.
Ava needs to calm down because we're not going to throw the dog. But if she's nervous, this would be a great time for some craft treats. Craft treats has a CBD treat, so it contains minor cannabinoids to increase the benefits of CBD. Stop talking to your dog. It's great for situational anxiety like being on the air. So also car ride anxiety, all of that good stuff. Go to crafttreats.com. They do a fantastic job. Crafttreats.com. And guys, we talk realignment. I'm curious when we move forward in realignment. I always think of recruiting, how it might affect it. And I looked at Southern Cal and UCLA, and I think it is a hurdle. And then at the same time, as Ethan pointed out, it might actually be a bonus to be a part of a better. I don't know. It could go either way. But does it help the Big Ten over the SEC recruit LA kids? Because the Big Ten schools will then go to LA. It's like the old Pat Summitt rule. We'll travel to your place so that your hometown peeps can see you play. And this is kind of the same thing. So if I'm Ohio State and I go recruit a kid in LA, I say, we're going to play UCLA and USC. So we're going to, your whole family, I'm not just talking about mom and dad that we can pay for, but your aunts and uncles and distant cousins can come see you play at the Rose Bowl. That to me is a pretty strong recruiting benefit that the Big Ten would have over the SEC.
It's still cold. Everywhere in the Big Ten is freezing. So if you're UCLA, USC, if you're a California kid, no, I think it's going to take more than you're going to have to pile on that NIL money to get me out of.
That's a really solid point that I had not thought of. I mean, Michigan, for heaven's sake, it doesn't get above 50 the entire year.
It's awful.
Especially football season at the very least. I don't know the climate of Michigan, but that's a very good point. I mean, these Southern Cal kids, they don't know much colder than about 50 degrees, really, and they're going to be living in it a pretty decent chunk of the year.
You gotta host the kids in June. You really do. And Tennessee did some of this back in the day. They'd host kids in September from Florida, and partly to see them play Florida, but also to have them in warm weather. And then the kids in spring practice or bowl practice, it's 20 degrees and the Florida kids are about to die. So, I mean, there's some ways to work around that, Amanda. Just have them in town. But you're right. The weather is a factor.
There's something completely different from Knoxville, Tennessee to Ann Arbor, Michigan. I went
Not
for
if
the
you're
Ohio
from-
State.
Well, not if you're from Miami.
No, there is something way different. I went to the Ohio State Michigan game like a couple of years, and I could not feel my feet. I could not feel. You have to start tailgating at 6 a.m. No one wants to do that. That's 3 a.m. their time. No one wants to do that. And it is freezing. I mean, the temperatures up there get There's nothing. It's nothing like here. Like you go outside and you almost freeze. It's terrible. No, this is completely different.
Well, I do think it was startling for some Miami kids that were suddenly at Tennessee, and Demetrius Morley in that group, which you may remember when Tennessee was able to pull out 3 highly rated prospects. Gerald Williams was one, and there was another one. I know that they were cold in Knoxville. I know that their visits were scheduled in September for a reason, and yeah,
it may not be Ann Arbor, but that's true. I mean, the difference between Miami and Knoxville, and then Knoxville and Ann Arbor, there's differences there. Probably definitely not the same going from Miami to Ann Arbor, but there's legitimate differences there. You're right.
Let's see.
California to Ann Arbor that's a stretch.
That's as big of a shift as I can really think of. I mean,
yeah, that's a stretch.
Yeah, I want to remind everybody that a great place if you're ever in the Chattanooga area to stop by is Pedigo Electric Bikes. They're right on the river. Great for rentals if you are away for a weekend. You can rent a bike, be all around town, and they're a whole lot of fun. I had an opportunity to rent one in San Diego as well, and just had an absolute blast. It was one of those moments that I'll never forget with my son. And even if I could, Facebook will remind me because I put the pictures all over Facebook. So you need to go to Pedigo if you're in Chattanooga, and you can go around the whole city. Don't worry about gas. Don't worry about parking. It's awesome. So that is what you need to do whenever you're in Chattanooga. And I know they have a dealership opening up in Knoxville as well. But I really think a lot of Adam and what he does at Pedigo Chattanooga. So, guys, I did want to get to one other topic, and I had an opportunity to visit with John Adams about possibly Nick Saban retiring. And this from Paul Feinbaum, basically the same thing. I'm sorry, I meant Chris Landry. Basically the same thing that Chris Landry is going to tell you is that Mario Cristobal, if it were in the next 2 or 3 years, would be the guy that they would tab. Billy Napier and Dave Aranda are in there, according to Feinbaum, but we really heard strong from Chris Landry about Mario Cristobal. So now Feinbaum did go on to say if something happened right now, Bill O'Brien would be the most serious candidate. And there is, to some extent, all these rumors about Nick Saban retiring towards this time of year, right about the middle of the summer, headed into football season. But it does seem to have a little bit more legs than previously. So let's just say that happened. Amanda follows Alabama football. Any of those names excite you, with the backdrop that none of them are going to be Nick Saban? Okay, we just have
obviously, no one thinks that anybody's going to be able to replace Coach Saban and have the same amount of success. No, none of those names excite me. I don't even like Bill O'Brien, how he is, like what he's doing at Alabama. I don't even like him right now. I'm not gonna lie, don't like him. Napier, no thank you. None of those names excite me at all. No, absolutely not. And this might be the denial phase of grief, and that's fine, but absolutely not. I have a name that I think.
What's the name? I want to hear the name.
All right. Well, it's going to be a whole thing, so just prepare yourself. Dabo Swinney.
No chance.
He's
not good enough. He might take it. I'm not a Dabo guy, and I think Ethan and I almost got into this via Twitter. I'm not a Venables guy either, who was under Dabo for so long and is now at Oklahoma. I mean, I think they do good work, but I think they had something special. Got a pretty special player in Mr. Massage, Deshaun Watson, and then another one in Trevor Lawrence, Son's Massage. But I don't think that
there was one before Deshaun too, and he went to the NFL. He played for the Bills. I can't remember his name. Help me.
But the bottom line is, I don't think Dabo. I think you could do better. I think Alabama could do better than Dabo.
You think Bill O'Brien is better than Dabo Swinney?
think he's a better
Wow.
image than Dabo Swinney. I mean,
Oh no.
you go from Nick Saban, who does not like NIL, but pretty at least semi-privately does not like NIL, and then you go to Dabo Swinney, who very openly says what he believes. I don't think that'll work at Alabama. Just me personally.
Here are Chris Landry's thoughts of LandryFootball.com. He's been a scout for Saban. He's been a coach for Bill Belichick. And be sure and subscribe and like, and you can get all of this content on YouTube and get notifications when we post it early. But here's Chris Landry of Landry Football talking about a potential Saban retirement upcoming. As we do look at recruiting. Okay, so I hear this rumor about this time every single year, but I did hear it from somebody that I think is a little bit more tied in with the business world, and you would probably have a much better idea, and you'll know before I will. But the rumor was that Nick Saban could be close to hanging it up, is planning on retiring after this year. Let me just get your thoughts. Do you think there's anything to that, A, and B, how will he leave when he leaves?
I think it's fair to say that he's, definitely on the back nine of his career, clearly, but deep into the back nine. So he can see the clubhouse. I don't know when that's going to be. Look, could I create a scenario with this team, which, by the way, looks like a great Alabama team, win it again, all again, and walk out on top? Yeah, I could see that. It's not really how Nick operates. I've always, and again, people always say, when is he? I think he's going to do it as long as he feels good and as long as he feels like he can compete. Now, people have said, because of the recent dust-ups, that he doesn't like the way college football is headed. And if that gets to a point where maybe certain things are not addressed, could that spur him to leave soon? I mean, perhaps. It's possible. I don't have the answer when he's going to go. I mean, if he doesn't know when he's going to retire, and Terry doesn't, I sure as heck don't know. I could just guess, but people have always said, and people have always asked me, and like, well, what was he? I can't remember the exact year, but I think about 3-4 years from now, they play at West Virginia. I've always said, he goes back home to West Virginia, play against West Virginia. That might be, it might be his last year, only because that kind of fits into the time where I think he'd be 78 or something, or 76. I have no idea when he's going to retire, and I think everybody's just guessing. And if you keep guessing, you're going to be right.
Yeah, I'm not guessing. I'm predicting. I don't think he. Given the two scenarios, I'll ask you guys: wait for West Virginia in 3 years, go back home, win a game there, woo, beat the Mountaineers, or win a national championship right off into the sunset after this year, which he very well may do. I think we would all agree that he's got the odds-on favor to win it all. Amanda's thinking hard, so therefore, yes, I think you are.
Well, you can think that, and I'm not.
Okay. So ultimately, if you're the AD at Alabama, what kind of guy do you want? We talked about Cristobal and all those guys. Do you want? Don't even mention names. Give me the type of guy. Do you want older, proven? Do you want younger, maybe ahead of the curve, ahead of a trend? What do you want as a coach? Because you're not going to get another Nick Saban. We all know that.
Obviously. I want someone who's proven. I know that whole, we could get, somebody that's trying to reinvent the game and all of that. But as we're starting to see, that's not really sustainable. I mean, it's not. People like, I don't know, Lincoln Riley.
Gus Malzahn.
Okay, Gus Malzahn. I don't even. That's a cuss word in my home, so we don't use that name. But it's not really a sustainable. Reinventing the game all the time is not really sustainable. So I would rather have somebody that's proven, that can adapt to the changes, but not necessarily push the changes. Does that make sense?
It does. Those proven guys are going to be tough to find. Ethan.
That's why I said Dabo Swinney.
I don't know that he's. I don't know. I think they got, like I said, I think they got lucky in recruiting. I think Venables is a good defensive coordinator. I question him as a head coach. I don't know. Yeah, Texas had to go the Sarkisian route, and let's remember that Sarkisian is not proven whatsoever. That they just won, was it 4 games? Texas last year, tough to do. I don't know the perfect answer to this question. I'll be quick to admit my ignorance.
Well, you have to look at all of Saban's, former assistant coaches. I mean, a lot of them are in the SEC.
Sark is
one, Kiffin.
I would hire
Jimbo.
I would hire Mel Tucker.
Kirby Smart.
I would hire if money was not an issue, which it shouldn't be at Alabama, and he's willing to come. I would hire Mel Tucker tomorrow if Nick Saban got hit by a bus.
Okay, don't put that evil on me.
Okay, but you always have a bus list. Athletic directors have told me that before. You always have a bus list. If somebody gets hit by a bus, I got a bus list for you guys. But
Thank you. Who's replacing me?
No, if something happens to you. No, I don't have a bus list for you guys. But athletic directors do have a bus list. So he's number one on my bus list, Mel Tucker. Attainable. I think you get him. I know he just signed the long contract, but Ethan, what do you think of Mel Tucker?
I mean, it's a good idea. I kind of want to go back to the earlier question on what type of coach you get.
Yeah.
I'll go against Amanda. I think you get a new guy just because people are going to keep comparing any guy you get to Nick Saban. And if you get a new guy, they can't really do that because they know he's a younger dude. He's going to have a different ideology. If you get a guy that comes in and tries to be Nick Saban, it's going to fail. And in my opinion, there's no one out there right now. Maybe Mel Tucker. I don't know. We could throw names out there all day long. There's no one out there that I see as a great fit for Alabama. Not really. I mean, if you want to keep expanding what Alabama is, I feel like you get a young guy. You say, hey, try your best to keep up with what Saban did. Don't try and be him. Let's reinvent things a little bit because everything has to change at one point. I feel like for people to keep interested, people to keep thinking your brand is good, I guess. And so I think change is probably due. Maybe not a lot of Alabama fans would think that, but I think it would be a good idea for them. I really do.
I think he cracks under pressure.
I mean, maybe you could say that about anybody. Everybody trying to follow in the footsteps of Nick Saban is going to crack under pressure. Everybody. I mean, we're talking about either the or second or third greatest college coach of all time. Probably
the chances of that person failing are greater than succeeding.
Yeah,
well,
I'll just tell you that. Well, no, I mean, because you want to be the guy that replaces the guy that replaces the guy. You don't want to be the guy that replaces the guy. So the guy that replaces the guy is going to be held to such a enormous amount of expectations that he's not going to meet them. I mean, they're going to expect 2 championships in 5 seasons.
I don't
going to get
so.
that. Oh, yes.
There will be a
so.
time of mourning. I guarantee you, there will be a time of mourning after Nick Saban leaves Alabama. No one's going to expect anybody to do what he's done. I mean,
Alabama will go win 7 games, and they'll explode. I guarantee it. They have they don't know anything other than winning 9-10 games a year. There's people that have grown up in Alabama's system. I feel like
that's going to be a problem.
I feel like there's a lot of Alabama fans that I bump into that don't know who the coach was before Nick Saban. So I think. Well, I'm not saying that's anybody in particular, but I just get that feeling. There's a lot of people that kind of jumped on this recent run of success, especially with Tennessee struggling. And I think those people will be like, you've got to win a couple of championships or mad. I'm with Ethan on that.
They'll just jump ship to another team and good. Bye. That's called a bandwagon fan. I hate those. I hate those more than I hate rival fans. At least if you're a rival fan, I can respect you, but the bandwagoners that jump on the Alabama train because we've been good since Saban got here, I hate those. Where were you during Mike DeBose era? Where were you during Mike Shula? Where were you when Dennis Franchione left us in the middle of the night and then called from Texas A&M to tell us that he was no longer our coach? Where were all of you then? You weren't here. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Well, I do know who was the coach escapes me. I do know where he was when his career came to an end. He was in the bed with a exotic dancer before a golf
Mike
tournament.
Price.
Yeah, I forgot about Mike Price. Mike Price. The prices are always good at Vassy Lawn and Garden. Vassy Lawn and Garden has 0% APR for up to 48 months and 3.99% financing for 60 months. Love Vassy Lawn and Garden. Man alive, it's worth the drive. If there is change in Alabama's football program, remember that change can be good, like the drive to Vassy Lawn and Garden. Man alive, it's worth the drive. Toro, count on it.
Taj Boyd was the Clemson quarterback before.
Oh yeah, they did have Taj Boyd.
Yeah,
that was the guy who Lane Kiffin ran off. He was committed to Tennessee to go way back in time. I think it was it Lane or was it? You might have to do some research during.
Taj Boyd was 2010, so it couldn't have been Lane, unless he was recruiting him.
So he signed in 2010.
Well, he played at Clemson from 2010 to 2010.
So he would have signed in February of 2010 then. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure
that would have been around Lane.
Lane was 2009. I'm pretty sure Lane didn't show him the love. I'm about 85 to 90% certain on that because he wanted a pro style quarterback. Pretty sure. But maybe there's always a chance that Butch blew it at the end. I mean, and the way things ended with players leaving and all that. Absolutely. Like and subscribe to YouTube. We would certainly appreciate it. You'll get a sneak peek on content in just a moment. Tennessee's athletic department best in the SEC. We discuss what that means and this day in sports history. So a bit from Josh Ward coming up next on Off the Hook Sports.
Gary Viles here. I want to personally invite you to North Knoxville's newest sports bar and restaurant. It's Big Orange Phillies, located in Black Oak Center. And yes, folks, it's happening in Halls. Big Orange Phillies offers family-friendly environment with homemade meals and the best deli-style subs around. Billiards, darts, jukebox, shuffleboard, and cornhole, and a full bar. We also offer valet parking on weekends and during special events. We even have a covered back patio. It's happening at Big Orange Phillies. We want, we need, and we appreciate your business.
Hi, Mike Davis here with City Heating and Air, reminding you to always dare to compare. Our team provides quality local heating and air service, installation, and maintenance across East Tennessee. We use only the best equipment like American Standard heating and air conditioning for your residential, new construction, or commercial needs. Honesty, dependability, and customer satisfaction have been the cornerstones of our business since 1961. City Heat and Air.
Dare to compare. This is Al's Dish Barbecue Supply, so come on in and see all the different rubs and sauces we have, plus a complete line of Green Mountain grills. Don't be overwhelmed. We have plenty of help so you can produce the best barbecue and amaze your family and friends. Barbecue is America's food. We'll do what we can to bring you all the best products. We're Al's Nest Barbecue, where Chattanooga goes to grill.
Do you want to own the more that owns every job? Then get to Vassy Lawn and Garden in Cleveland and get you a Toro. I'm David Vassy, here to talk to you about Toro. With a Toro Zero Turn, you'll get more out of every minute and you'll reach the finish line faster. At Vassy's, we like to say, no matter if you're mowing 3 acres a week or 11 lawns a day, homeowners and business owners alike find confidence in equipment they can trust from top to bottom.
Vassy Lawn and Garden, Highway 60 North in Cleveland.
Man alive, it's worth the drive.
Alrighty, this day in sports history, we remind you to please subscribe and like on YouTube so that you can see, sneak peeks of content that we have planned. A lot post early in the week. So somebody didn't like
TikTok.
And the TikTok.
Don't forget TikTok.
Yeah, subscribe and like Amanda. She does a great job. Yeah, they like you. So I would say this too. You're gonna love Chris Landry and the insight he gives you into the football world. So we're geared up. I know next week's a holiday weekend. Have a happy Fourth. Be safe out there. We don't need any JPP instances. But that always happens, and I'm still confused as to why that happens. The dumbest thing you've ever done with fireworks? Anybody?
Ooh,
Not
I've
me per
got a
se.
couple.
Yeah, I'm like,
Amanda, go ahead.
It wasn't me, but it was someone that I used to affiliate with. Was trying to set off one of those big ones in the middle of
the
like
mortars.
stack. No, not that, but like one of those that spews like a
Oh,
bunch
okay.
of them. So he didn't put like anything to keep it in place because if something goes boom, obviously it's gonna move. He didn't put anything to keep it in place. It fell over on its side. I'm watching it. It shoots the house across the street. Then it turns full circle and it comes at like us. There's three of us sitting there and it starts shooting fireworks at us. And I would try to run inside and like it's a green light just flashes next to us. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's Avada Kedavra. I'm dying. It's Harry Potter. Like it was hilarious. I laughed so hard.
We used to hold Roman candles, and I look back at this. This is so stupid. We used to hold Roman candles and shoot them at each other. But my favorite July the 4th story, it's one of those weird days where like the 4th was during the middle of the week. And for some reason, I had to work the 4th. I was in my early 20s, and I had the 5th off. So, or the 6th. But for whatever reason, I'm trying to remember. I was shooting fireworks. Maybe I just had leftovers, but I was shooting fireworks off on the 5th when everybody's supposed to be done. And I was out in the middle of nowhere and I got those big mortars about the size of a softball. And I tried to load 3 in at the same time. You're only supposed to do one at a time.
How are you alive?
Yeah,
it's pretty interesting. So I load 3 of those suckers in there, and it's about 3 feet tall, 4 feet tall, and I light it, and man, it just explodes, and the whole thing, and then one goes off after the other. But the best part about that story is not the explosion. The best part is I lived in the middle of nowhere. I'm talking about nowhere, and you could hear a guy from over the holler, not a NASCAR holler, but a holler, as in I live in a holler. Call me a name that starts with A and ends with E, screaming as loud as he could. You could hear it like in the back. You could hear it in the background because he had to go to work the next day. You hear in the background. And I'm like, oh, he's talking about me.
There's not enough craft treats in the world to calm any dog down around you fireworks.
This day in sports history is brought to you, and it's a good one. It's brought to you by Zool Beer Company. So, what do you got? I know you guys both were scrounged up for this day in sports history, but it's brought to you by Zool Beer Company. I'll tell you about them first. Great panoramic views, fantastic place to sit back and watch the games. We're going to have some Friday events there, and they've got award-winning beer, Zool Beer Company, XUL. All right, guys. So,
and we have ice cream.
Oh, and yes, they do have. Yes. I almost forgot. Thank you for setting me straight. They do have it's like ice cream beer, right?
Yeah, it's alcoholic ice cream. It's 5%, and right now it is our tangerine mafioso, which is like a dreamsicle, and it is insanely good. You can't get it to go. People are always asking, "Can I take this with me?" I'm like, "No, you cannot." But you can enjoy it there, and it is wonderful. Like it is so good, especially when it's hot.
That's interesting. They're like beer edibles. So and it's lactose free, which is super cool.
Yes, there's no lactose in it, but it's still creamy, which is insane.
Yes. So this day in sports history, Ethan, what do you got? I got a couple I can throw at you real quick, and I think this one's timely. This day in sports history, LeBron
You took mine. That's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
You take it. I'm sorry. Go.
I know you have another one, so I mean, everyone should know what it is at this point. I feel like it is pretty recent. 2018, LeBron signs with the Lakers, pretty heavily changing the landscape of the NBA in the process.
Well, and the thing I'm hearing from the ESPN cats this morning is that Kyrie Irving wants to get back to the Lakers, and the Durant thing was very interesting. He waited for Irving to sign, and then Durant said he wants out. So Irving was signing to play. Durant's like the biggest insecure jerk in the world.
There's so many divas in the NBA.
I'm sick of Kevin Durant.
I am too.
I love him. He's amazing. Content machine, but I'm sick of him.
I was thinking this morning how I'm ready to watch him retire. I was just thinking that this morning. We went to see a game where he played the Hawks in December. And I swear, man, you talk about dogging it. He dogged it for 95% of that game. And the end played defense on Trae Young and the game was over. I was like, why didn't you just do that the whole time? We could have left early.
Mm-hmm.
Once he decided to D up and score, ball game. It was like in 5 minutes, it went from like a 2-point lead to like a 12-point lead. All right, so we had something else too. What other day in sports history, Amanda? I know you've got some. And the sigh means you want to talk, I assume.
No, the sigh means I hate LeBron James and I don't like them.
Same.
I don't like Kyrie Irving either. I don't like Kevin Durant. I like rooting. Agreed. I'll take my Tatums and Browns of the world in bunches with my Celtic shorts on.
Yes,
so
I'm sure you will.
And we had another one too. This day in sports history. Oh yes, the Derek Jeter jumping into the third base side of and he scars up his face and beats up. He's all bloody, and it was an incredible out. That was this day in sports history as well.
And this is the day that Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield. This is the day that they came down on the Nevada Athletic Commission came down on Mike Tyson for biting Holyfield's ear in 1997. It was on June 28th is when he did it. That whole ear biting thing.
Yeah,
but
I went back.
They came down on him.
I went back and watched a clip of that. It was because I saw it was in that day in sports history a couple of days ago. And I went back and watched a clip of that. And the referee had no idea that he bit him the first time. So he just put them back together. So he bit him again. And so again, the referee was on the other side. So he didn't see it. And then, so he looks at the ear and he's like, there's a chunk missing. And it's on the mat of the ring, which is so bizarre. And he's like, it's kind of like I don't know what happened. Don't do it again. And puts them together again. And then he goes for the other ear.
That is so nasty.
It's gross and weird in so many different ways, but it falls perfectly under the category of what Mike Tyson would do. It's like anything crazy and insane, you can say that sounds like a Tyson. So like if you go drive 180 miles an hour on the interstate this afternoon, you pulled a Tyson. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Tennessee's athletic department won the All Sports Trophy. And here is Josh Ward visiting with us. And you can check this out on YouTube. Be sure and subscribe and like. Josh Ward talking about the athletic department of Tennessee, where they fit in the grand scheme of things. On both sides, do we agree that Tennessee has one of the top 4 or 5 athletic departments in the SEC, even with the addition of Texas and Oklahoma?
Maybe. I think it's a toss-up with a few of those. And again, when you have this conversation, it means you're trading the people that you're currently pulling for. And fans don't want to do that. Like, you don't want to trade Tony Vitello. Don't do that.
No.
Yeah. So, and Rick Barnes, I think, has been great for Tennessee. People want to see more postseason success and should. He does too. But you should love Rick Barnes and love Josh Heupel with what he's doing. I said on the radio this week, by the way, tell me if I'm wrong, but football coaches, that is a stressful, grinding job, and you have to be made a certain way. But I think since Philip Fulmer, Josh Heupel has been the most relatable coach that Tennessee's had. Maybe you could say It's not the highest bar, Josh, but that's the sport. So, he's relatable. He has an offense that fans are going to like. But, I think with Danny White. So, David, it's also this. Danny White is, I think, a really good athletic director. I think he's hired really good people. I think that athletic department has a strong staff. Some people that you've heard of, some people that you haven't heard of. Their creative team is really good. They're in really good shape, and things can always change. That's the world of college athletics. Consider that we both kind of dismissed Florida as somebody that you trade places with. That'd be difficult to say previously, but right now, I think Tennessee fans should like the leadership, the structure, and the direction of Tennessee athletics.
But Amanda calls it a consolation prize winning the all.
It is.
Okay.
I don't care what anyone says. It's a consolation prize.
There are no consolation prizes at Owl's Nest Barbecue. They have all the rubs. They have the pellets, the wood pellets, the wood chips that you need at Owl's Nest Barbecue. And right next door, a great place to get your car worked on at Steve Ray's Midnight Oil. So, guys, big plans for the July the 4th weekend? Do we have any big plans? I'll be honest with you. And I do want to take a moment. We're now officially in month 2 of this venture and hit a significant milestone yesterday. I'm incredibly proud of what we've been able to do and you guys. And I'm just totally excited about the future moving forward and the growth of this. So I want to thank you guys. Don't blow your fingers off JPP style over the weekend. But I'll be honest with you, I've been so busy over the past 3 weeks that I didn't realize that we were coming up on July the 4th. And I'm going to go spend way too much money at a fireworks store with my son here in just about the next 2 hours. That is my plan. I'm not even concerned necessarily with how they blow up. The cool thing is just going there and saying, get what you want. Those are one of my favorite holiday moments. And it's like, let's get this and that and this and that. So I'll probably take them both. And then my favorite July 4th memory is when my daughter was like 8 years old and I'd show her how to light something and I'd say, now run. And she would run and there was this divot in the yard and she would trip and fall right next to the fireworks every time. So
a good memory? That's terrible.
It was cute and she didn't get hurt. So
no.
Oh my gosh. No, I have plans. My plans are to stay at home and actually rest for a day. But also, I don't like fireworks. I don't like them.
Oh, I love them.
I actually don't like what they do to my dog. So I'm going to load her up on those craft treats. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, I've given her a couple. And I mean, it calms her down immediately. She's just like, meh. And I'm like, okay, cool. Well, July 4th, when all these little heathens over here are blowing up fireworks, I'm going to give you some of these so you can just chill.
You'll be like, hates fireworks. You'll be like mainlining. Isn't that what when they inject drugs in your vein or something? Just mainline chill pills for craft treats.
I've never mainlined anything, so I have no idea what that's called.
Have a great holiday weekend, everyone. For Amanda and Ethan, I'm Dave Hooker. Over the weekend, we will have content, and we have Francis Mauigoa making his decision on the 4th, and then Weathersby on a Friday night. So we'll have reaction to that. So, Ethan?
Just want to jump in. Jeremiah Cobb also today, heavy Auburn lean. Might already be out by the time you listen to this, but it really wasn't even worth talking about because I think he's a very heavy Auburn lean, but he is a Tennessee
target. Let's try to get him away from that.
Has them in his top 3. He will be announcing today as well.
Cool.
Good Auburn.
Good stuff. Today isn't Friday, depending on when you're listening. I'm getting used to this whole non-linear thing as well.
Friday, July 1st.
I mean, to me, it's totally bizarre. Okay, so have a fantastic weekend, everyone, and we will talk to you after Independence Day. This has been a presentation of Off the Hook Sports.